Hello everyone. Uh, we did a video a while back about a dynamic list view that basically was built on the fly. So we pass the columns when we pass the data, and basically the same grid looks completely different depending of the scenario. So I had a couple requests about going a little more in depth on how do we achieve that. And at the end, it's just a custom property editor. So if we see our app, basically, the idea here is like we can execute a query directly to the database, select from permission, policy, user, and you see right away, it went to the database, got the columns, and got the data, and we're good to go. So if we change this to role, this is a columns change, data change, and so on. And basically, this is a quick uh, sample to show how we can make a dynamic grid. But this could be based on other business logic. We have another client that basically has a process and they need to go and get the process steps in another table, and from there get the columns name, and then go to a second table and get the data, and then build the grid. So whatever it is your business scenario, we can accommodate it here. And the idea here is, I know I have a little, decent amount of Visual Studio open, is that it basically is a grid list editor. Right here, we're gonna do it to the iQuery resolve. So we have our business object that implement the iQuery resolve, and from there, all the normal layers that we know we had for the list editor. Right now, we have even less layers in 25.1, but basically to keep on the same example, right here we have our component that we're going to be displaying. And in this component, we have basically the text box and the button to execute the query, and my dynamic grid, that is our component. And my dynamic grid basically take as a parameter the data and the fields. And if you see here, it has a for each that it creating the data columns with the field name, the caption, and so on, based on the parameters that we're sending. And if we go back to our uh, razor component for the list editor, you can see that in the uninitialized, then we are going to get our application on your space, and then we're going to build our grid data, and we're going to build our grid columns, pass it to the component, and good to go. So that's basically it. There is, of course, more things about CSS, some event handle for the rowing click, and things like that. But basically, you can see that you have complete power here to do this in a Blazor application without XAF and bring it here as a list editor, and voila, good to go. All right, that will be all for this video, and see you in the next one.